Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Welcome back to school and Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri, Maha Zahir dan Batin. So for today's lesson, we are going to continue where we left off with chapter 5. So this is the last lesson for chapter 5, which is books of prime entry. So today will be all about petty cash book. Okay, so let's look at here lesson 5, the learning objective. So the learning objective is to explain and apply the Impress system of petty cash. Okay, so what are the steps to success? Firstly, you have to define what is petty cash, explain the Impress system of petty cash, evaluate the advantage of using the Impress system. You have to know the format of a petty cash book and then apply the Impress system when you record your cash expenses into the petty cash book. Okay, so let's look at the notes. So the word petty cash book is actually focusing on the word petty, which means less important. So you are recording expenses that are less important in terms of maybe the amount is very little. It could be $1, just $5, compared to the business profit, which could be $10,000. Okay, so the petty cash book has a similar function as a cash book, used to record minor regular expenses. So for example, you may be buying your car fuel every week, but it's only $10, such as purchases of tea and coffee for office pantry, newspaper, cleaning detergent, office pencil, and etc. So let's use newspaper as an example. Okay, so newspaper in one day is only $1, but imagine buying it for 1 year. So that could be $365. So if it's only one newspaper, it is less important. It is not as important. But when you buy it every day for a year, it becomes 365, so it becomes more important. So that's why a petty cash book is important, because the total amount of the petty cash may be significant. Okay, so it is usually paid using cash and coin and rarely by check, because people usually use check for amounts that are huge. Okay, so an Impress system of petty cash book. So how does an Impress system works? So firstly, the total expenses for the period is estimated and given in advance to the petty cashier. This amount is known as Impress cash. So let's say you estimate that your petty cash expenses for all your tea or your detergent, all your stationeries will cost you $50. So you put an Impress cash of $50. Okay, and this Impress cash is spent during the period, but the spent amount may not reach $50. Okay, so you may spend only $42, $42 out of that 50. So you have a remaining of $8. And then at the end of the period, this could be at the end of the month, the amount spent is reimbursed. So let's say you spend $42, so that is the amount that you will be reimbursed, returning the balance back to the original amount, which means that the opening amount and the closing amount in your petty cash should always be the same. So if you started off with $50 at the start of the month and you spend $42, you should have 50 by the end of the month. So you are reimbursed back this $42. So what are the advantages of using the Impress system? So firstly, it allows for division of labor. So one person is in charge of petty cash, so that whoever is in charge of the money will not be burdened by petty cash expenses. Secondly, less transactions are entered in the main cash book. So if you buy newspaper every day and you record it in the cash book every day, your cash book will be really thick and will be cluttered, will be disorganized. So by having a petty cash book, your cash book can stay organized. Thirdly, it's easier to verify transaction to prevent fraud and misappropriation. So if one person is in charge of the petty cash book, it's easier for you to prove that an expense has actually happened, or if anything goes wrong, it's easy for the owner to find out what happened. They can just ask this one person who is in charge. Okay, so let's look at the format of a petty cash book. So this is the format of a petty cash book. So you have the date as always. Firstly, you have the receipt. Receipt is where you record the amount of money coming in. Okay, and then you have the date as always, and then the details. So what did you buy with that cash, and the voucher number. Okay, so some businesses with small amounts, they don't give you a receipt. Instead, they give you a voucher. Or in Brunei, we usually use cash bill. So if you work in a business, so let's say you work in a restaurant, you're a waitress, and then you want to buy salt and sugar from the kedai runcit next door. So you will ask for a cash bill so that you can record it in the petty cash book of the restaurant. And then the total here refers to when you have a lot of expenses. You have a lot of similar expenses. And then this is where I want to focus your attention. Expense 1, 2, 3, and 4. So expense 1, 2, 3, and 4 is usually replaced by categories in a petty cash book. So expense 1 may be replaced by the word refreshment in your petty cash book. Okay, they don't actually write expense 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is where you will record all the things, all the refreshment you buy. So your coffee, your tea, your sugar. And then the second expenses may be your transport. So this is where you record maybe all your fuel or your bus ticket or your taxi amount. Okay, so every business have different expenses, have different categorization. So you have, this depends on the question you are given. Okay, let's look at an example of a question on petty cash book. So let me read the question. Leto started a business on 1st April 2008. On that day, he introduced $200 for the petty cash. So the impressed cash is $200. He decided to keep his petty cash book on the impress system, which means that the opening and closing balance should always be $200. In the month of April, he paid the following expenses from his petty cash. So he has 4 transactions there: A4 papers, meeting refreshments, cleaning service, and traveling. On 1st May, he withdrew the appropriate amount from the bank to restore the impressed amount. So he will withdraw whatever impressed cash that he has spent to restore back the impressed cash. Construct Leto's petty cash book for the month of April and show the amount transferred from the bank on 1st May. Okay. So let's look at the transaction and how it is recorded in the petty cash. So first of all, you have to record the starting amount. So the starting amount is $200 and he started business on April 1st. So this is where I record the starting amount. So this is the money coming in on the receipts part. So I recorded $200. It is taken in cash. Okay. So this detail is either cash or bank. So where do you get that money from? Okay, so on April 3rd, he bought A4 papers for $35. So I have the date April 3rd, I have the detail A4 paper, and then it will be recorded in your stationery column. So Leto has 4 categories: stationery, refreshment, cleaning, and traveling. So A4 papers will be recorded in the stationery. So if you have more than one transaction in a day, the total amount here will be different. But in this case, we only have one transaction on April 3rd, so the total amount will only $35. And then for April 8th, meeting refreshment. So you bought refreshment for a meeting. So I'm going to record that here. And April 8th, meeting refreshment. So it will be recorded under the refreshments column. Okay, refreshment refers to food and drinks. Okay. And then again, the total for the day will be returned in the total column. The third one, cleaning services. So you paid someone, maybe you paid someone to clean the office. So I'm going to record that here, April 13, cleaning service. And then it will be recorded in the cleaning column. Again, there's only one transaction in that day, so the total will only be 50. Lastly, the traveling for $20 on April 20. So the date is April 20. The detail is traveling. It will be recorded in the traveling column. Again, there's only one transaction, so the total will also be $20. Now, how do we close this account? So let's look. So at the end of the month, you will total this column. So you see here, the total amount you spent is 144. So that is the amount you have to reimburse, so that the balance in the petty cash is back again to 200. So how do you do this? So at the end of the month here, on April 30, you will put back in $144. Okay, sorry, this detail should be bank because you take it out from your bank account, not your cash account. Okay, so on April 31st, at the end of the month, you will reimburse the amount you spent. Okay, I'm going to emphasize here, you reimburse the amount you spent. So whatever you spend here, that is the amount you will reimburse. So now you find the balance. So on the last day again, the balance CD is back to 200 because you have already reimbursed the amount you spent. Okay, once you have your balance CD, you will total all the columns. So you will total this column and have 344. You will total this column, which is 144 plus 200, which is 344, and also total these columns, just to keep track of all your expenses in the petty cash book. And then you will close off that account with that double line. And then you will bring down, as usual, you will bring down the balance CD. This is the same as what happened with April 1st. Here, April 1st kan, ada kan? So this is the same thing as what you record in April 1st. But instead, you write down balance BD. So the starting amount should be 200. Okay, so that's all for petty cash. Next week, for next lesson, which is next week, we will try some more exercises on petty cash book. Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, class.